Good evening, and welcome to Having a Drink with Mink. I am your host, Jason Mink. Larry. I don't feel so good, Larry. What? Take a drink? I guess I should. Oh, I do feel a bit better. Absolutely. Thank you, Larry. Very wise of you. All right, well, let's get right to it. I hope you have a nice beverage on hand. Happy Halloween, folks. It's right around the corner. Absolutely. We're poised. We're right on the edge of Halloween. I hope you have your bowls of candy ready. I hope you're giving out some full-size bars because, gosh knows, it's 2022, and if there are kids out there trick-or-treating, they deserve the full-size bars. We're going to get right to it because, as you can see, there is so very much to get to. Let's begin. Right off the bat, here's something that I've been hanging on to for a good long time now. Been dying to crack it open, in fact, but I've been wanting to wait for just this special occasion. Here it is. It's the Maxx FX Freddy. Okay, now, if you were around in the 1980s, well, you knew that Freddy Krueger, he was a fairly controversial figure when it came right down to it. Parents groups were up in arms about Freddy. Church groups were ringing the bells. You know, everyone was talking about how evil and satanic it was. And, well, you know, when it comes right down to it, I guess the guy was a horrific child murderer with a razor hand and a altogether creepy striped sweater. I mean, who wears something like that, right? As far as it goes in the 1980s, well, toys were a big thing, especially for products that weren't for kids. Properties like Rambo, the high-caliber hijinks of RoboCop, and even the phallocentric Big Chap of 1979's Alien. And so it should come as no surprise that someone figured, hey, let's take a shot on Freddy Krueger. Now, this is where our story gets pretty interesting. It turns out that a gentleman named Mel Burkrant, longtime toy creator and veteran of the industry, he had an idea. He wanted to introduce monster toys to kids, but in a way that their parents wouldn't necessarily find objectionable because, as we know, the satanic panic was a big thing back in the 1980s. The idea that kids were being corrupted by pop culture, that was a pretty omnipresent idea. So Mel decided the best way of approaching it would be to Tom Savini it, if you will. He was going to create a character, Maxx FX, in this case, who was a makeup effects artist, and he would take on the guises of popular cinematic characters and assume their remarkable powers, very much in the way a superhero might, don a magical charm or a cape or something like that. Max would dress up like different monsters and essentially become those monsters, but it was understood by kids and parents alike that this was, in fact, just a guy in a costume. Well, that was the conceit at any rate. The thing is, it turns out that Matchbox, who was the creator, the producer of this particular product, well, they put the cart ahead of the horse as far as things went. You see, like I said, Freddy Krueger, very controversial figure, and before this thing could even come out, Matchbox produced a talking Freddy Krueger, and they aimed it at kids. That's right. And the outroar was to be expected. You can imagine that people were just up in arms about the idea of a character this reprehensible being marketed to their children. And, this thing hadn't quite come out yet. Well, Mel, he was brokenhearted because he knew the writing was on the wall. Freddy was really the only one who was ready to go. And, so this thing came out under kind of a cloud as far as it goes, but nonetheless, it did come out. And we do have an example of it right here in the box. That is right, it's an original. I have long looked at pictures of this on the internet, watched videos of people talking about it, and thought, hey, that'd be a cool thing to have. Well, I have one, and now we're going to open it together. Let's make it happen. As you can see, we have a Freddy Krueger right here. This is Mego's recent example. This is an 8-inch Freddy Krueger, and he's modeled on your typical Mego body contemporary figure. And very effective in this instance, absolutely. He's got his sweater. He's got his hat. Got to have the hat and the glove. Sadly, the glove a little bit bent up and distorted after being in the package, but nonetheless, very nice contemporary example. How does he measure up against Maxx FX? Well, let's crack this guy open and see how it goes. Who do we have right here? Well, it could only be the new knife. That's right. What's his name? Let us know in the comments section below. Stabby Joe, I don't know that he's coming back. So this guy's going to be with us for a while. What do you think we should call him? It's up to you, folks. Take it away. All right, so we're going to get this guy open, but first we're going to take a look at the box. Now, the box illustrates the point of this being a cinematic character with the film strip going across the top. We even have his name in marquee lights. That's Maxx FX. You're not going to want to miss him. And it's now showing. And it's a quick change artist and master of special effects, turning into Freddy from A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, apparently, 4 of these movies had come out at this point in time, getting ready to put the 5th one out, and so it seemed like a prime time. I mean, Freddy had his own TV show, and I actually played Freddy at a haunted house of horrors back in the day when I was a much younger man, able to jump around and do the voice and sweat in one of those costumes for 8 hours for minimum wage. Here on the back, we see Max getting all dudded out, ready to be Freddy, if you will. And then some of the other possible options that we would have had if this line had gone on. We have a Frankenstein monster, we have a Dracula, and we even have an alien. Was Geiger going to get a check for that? Let us know in the comments section below, Matchbox. I'm talking to you. I know you're watching. So we're going to get this guy open. Let's make it happen. Would appear it's only held in place with one little piece of factory tape. And with that, it's cut open. It's no longer mint in box. What have I done? What have I done? Oh, it's not nearly as bad as what I'm about to do, because the thing about this figure is, well, you can't take these bits and pieces out without completely destroying the card. Is something that I suspect. Maybe I'll be wrong. One last look at the box. Put that down there. And then here we have it. Now, will this piece of plastic come away? No. It is really, really attached. Oh, it's so attached. Ah, that is painful. It's so painful, I'm not going to make you watch. This is what it looks like, ultimately. This is how it appears in the package. I'm going to open this off camera because I don't think I could open it on camera and cry like a baby at the same time. No one should have to see that, so we'll be back in 1 second. All right, when it comes right down to it, there was no pretty way of doing that, but what's done is done. And so here we have him, Maxx FX, all nude. The reason I made him nude was, well, to illustrate this particular body type. And if you've watched this channel before, well, it may be a bit familiar to you. Absolutely. When you see a naked figure like this, you're thinking, hey, that might be a Mego. And who's the most naked Mego figure of all? Well, that could only be, of course, naked Woody Harrelson. Is that you under there, Woody? What's going on, buddy? All right, we're going to take a look at... Ah! Oh, my God! That's not naked Woody Harrelson at all. It's a spooky headless ghost. All right. Well, nonetheless, you get the idea. This is some sort of a reused Mego body. You can tell just by looking at it. It has the band in the underwear section. It has, like the very typical joints, especially right there and there. Yeah, I'm afraid Matchbox was, borrowing this mold. But, I guess not the biggest of deals because, hey, Menudo did the same thing, didn't they? Oh, that's right. We know. All right. So, yeah, like I said, I made it a point to strip this guy down. Initially, he came wearing his Maxx FX outfit, and that's this rather jaunty yellow shirt here, and a pair of blue jeans, and a little pair of loafers there. Very stylish, very smart. And here we have the Freddy Krueger hat, and we're going to put him right there. We also have the Freddy Krueger sweater, and this is in great shape, actually. It looks like he picked this up at the Gap. Doesn't have any of the burn marks or the holes in it that you would expect from Freddy Krueger. Any of the stains, Pants are also in great nick. For sure, really sharp corners and stuff like that, you bet. These were the worst offenders as far as the stickiness went. These boots were absolutely gross, but I cleaned them up to the best of my ability, and they're not so bad right now. So I'll put those there. And then here's Freddy's glove. And it hasn't fared so well over time, as you can see. It's definitely taken a beating in the package, but we're going to attempt to straighten that up with a little bit of hot water and patience. We'll set that there. Hot Water and Patience is also the name of my 9-part BBC series that's coming up in 2023, so watch out for that. Here's his additional hand. And then, topper of toppers, here is the Freddy Krueger head. That's right. As you know, Maxx wore masks and outfits, and subsequently we're going to put this mask and the outfit on this naked fella right here. We're going to transform him into the Freddy Krueger, and, we'll be right back. And here he is, Freddy Krueger, all assembled. Okay, well, about 80% assembled. This is how far we got. Got the pants and the sweater on them. Next up, we have the glove and the burnt hand to represent how he was, in fact, incinerated alive by the irate parents who took issue with, his liberal treatment of their children. On top of that, we have the hat and the Freddy Krueger mask. Now, this snaps on in 2 pieces, and it's quite large when it comes right down to it. This figure is about an inch taller than that previous Mego shown, and when you add this extra stuff, it gives it another good, 3/4 of an inch for sure. So when it comes right down to it, it's pretty big. If I would have managed to get the boots on, it might have even been that much bigger. But as soon as I started putting these things on, his ankle broke. That is right. Yeah, that's the hard truth about these things. I thought that I could just very gently slip it into the boot, but, it wasn't having it. The whole thing just kind of split, very ugly. So, when it comes right down to it, I just left him in the Maxx FX loafers because, if you're going to be a creepy child predator, nothing says that more than a pair of black loafers. So here he is, Freddy Krueger in all his glory. His glove, like I said, a little messed up, but, we're going to put that in hot water. We're going to attempt to fix it on up. It doesn't really stay on all that well. But ultimately, this was the sort of toy that was designed to stimulate a child's imagination. It wasn't intended to stand up to a lot of rough play. The whole process was the transformation from Maxx, a gentle, benevolent lipstick-wearing makeup artist, into Freddy Krueger here. And the effect worked out very, very nicely. Other than the broken ankle, I won't hold that against the figure because it is, after all, decades old. But quite happy to add him to the collection. As far as this outfit goes, well, I don't know, see if it fits Woody Harrelson, wherever he is right now at the moment. Maybe the spooky ghost has some answers. You betcha. All right. Well, before we move on, I want to say cheers to Jambo Comics. Jambo Comics is doing the good work when it comes right down to it. They're talking about the old comics that you and I love so much. They feature them every week. They're a new and upcoming channel. They're at about 600 subscribers, and if you like this, well, you very well may like that. So check them out at the link below. It's well worth it. And hey, let them know that the old guys who like old comics sent you. Cheers. Okay, now as you can see, we have a great big stack of books. Oh yeah, we do. Now, I picked these books up months ago. I got a great deal on them, and I've just been sitting on them. And that's not really comfortable because, well, these things, they can really throw your spine out of whack, especially Jay Disbrow's Monster Invasion. Now, all of these are from the chilling archives of horror comics, and these are Craig Yo publications. Now, Craig Yo, that name might be a little bit controversial in your circles, but nonetheless, if you appreciate pre-code horror and you want affordable, readable, and beautifully prepared copies of that material in an admittedly random form, then these volumes may be worth checking out. Now, we're going to look at this one right off the bat, and as you can see, it has a really nifty cover. It has this sort of spot varnish effect, to make bits of it stand out and pop. Then on the back, there's Jay himself. One of my favorite things about these particular volumes is the fact that they actually provide a picture of the artist because as a YouTube creator, it can be very, very difficult to find pictures of these gentlemen. And even though this is all blown up and distorted, it is nonetheless a reference point for Jay's wonderful work. Now we're going to crack this thing open. I have designated 4 specific areas in each one of these books to highlight, but, well, there's so very much more. That's all this is going to be, is a highlight for these wonderful books that are available to you right now. So we're going to flip this open. What's the first little piece of paper we have right there? Why, it's The Horrible Entity. Here he is, your typical 1950s green-suited gentleman. People wore a lot of green suits back then, if comics were to be believed. And he's being menaced by a entity terrible. Got one big eye and some fangs, and of course the tentacles that are oh so popular in hentai today. Then here we have the Insider. Oh yeah, kind of satanic when it comes right down to it. Pretty spooky stuff. Then we have the Unknown Presence. Oh no, Frederick! Oh God, I hate to think how he's broken now. But there it is. That's looking pretty wonderfully awful. And that's what you want in one of these books when it comes right down to it. And we're going to cap things off with this. Oh, check this guy out. Jonathan. No. Oh, no. And then here's some Bob Powell's Terror. And speaking of that spot varnish magic, this one, wow. man, that thing really stands out. And I, for one, if they were to make some Bob Powell masks in the Ben Cooper style, I'd be all over that, absolutely. This is another wonderful volume. Very, very striking, as you can tell. Very, very vivid colors. There he is, Bob himself. Granted, he looks a bit like Murray Wilson. Look out, Brian, watch that ear. But nonetheless, what's happening in here? Okay, now right off the bat, this one, winner chicken dinner. If you love old pre-code horror, then you're familiar with The Wall of Flesh. And here it is, presented in staggering full color. This one is an absolute stunner, folks. I can't recommend it enough. As far as it goes, weird horror has never been equaled. Wall of Flesh, magnificent piece of work. Now, in a previous Comics for Breakfast, we talked about this particular story, and here it is presented in its original format. It's The Rat Man, and this one, oh, it'll rip you up inside. Absolutely. It'll tear up your soul with its back feet. It'll make a nest. It'll lay its babies in your psyche. It is wild. I can't extol its virtues enough. I would love to see this particular character come back because, while his stories seem to be left on a, significantly down note, I think there are ways to bring Ratman back. Who wants to see Ratman? Let us know. Next up, in the chilling archives, it's zombies. Oh, yeah. Here they come. They want to give you a kiss. They're just lonely, after all. This one contains work by Wally Wood, Jack Cole, Gene Colan, one of my favorites, Howard Nostrin, as well as Bob Powell, Reed Crandall, Lou Cameron, and Basil Wolverton. How about the horror of the mixed torsos? Don't you hate it when that happens? You wake up early in the morning, you're on your way to work, you're just trying to get ready, and you mix up your torso. Everyone notices. And then this has a very notable cover gallery. I remember seeing this one online many years ago and thinking, boy, oh boy, that pre-code horror, fantastic stuff, but how am I going to get in on that stuff? Well, it's just as easy as picking up one of these wonderful hardback volumes, because look at all you get. Here's Weird Tales of the Future, and we have some Beware. There's a Dark Mystery. Oh yeah, it's a pajama party. Following it up with some Tomb of Terror and my everyday experience on the public transit, Witch's Tales. Oh, it's not really all that much different. I just pay a little bit more to ride. Next up, perhaps most notable for his contribution to the superhero genre a la Plastic Man, Jack Cole's Deadly Horrors should not be underappreciated. Here they are, highlighted in this wonderful hardcover book. And dig this fella. Sort of character you'd see skulking about in the background of a relative's funeral. Behind a tombstone, gnashing his teeth. You're thinking, boy, hope they're not in the will. And then on the back, there's Jack. Once again, that's what makes these so wonderful, is these archive collections. They give you so very much. From the presentation right in the front, even if you were buying the comics back in the day, you wouldn't be able to appreciate the artwork quite like this. To the forewords, which provide you wonderful insight into the history of these creators. Here's a little something from Jack called Murder, Morphine, and Me, a very notable panel which may have got him in trouble with a certain Dr. Wortham. Right off the bat, speaking of Plastic Man, here he is in his most malleable of forms. How's he going to get out of this one? Well, I think only Woozy Winks knows for sure. And then just one page later, and you're knee-deep into the web of evil. Yes, you are. Check that guy out. Beaky. I can understand why she's so upset. And then there's this guy. He's the man who died twice. And I think he enjoyed it just as much the second time as the first. Here's the Hangman's Horror. And have you ever seen a neck so distended? Well, actually, maybe I don't want to hear the answer to that. Death prowls the streets. And this is Cole at his most elastic. This is conveying human emotion in a way that many artists simply couldn't dare to imagine, but nonetheless incredibly effective, powerful stuff. You gotta love it. It's Jack Cole's Deadly Horror. You're just not gonna want to miss it. And then here's some haunted horror. And these are banned comics from the 1950s. And he's really upset about it, he is. You know, he invested in a printing press. You know, he talked to some people, made some connections, and it all fell through is what it did. Here's some horror mascots for you. Nice flyleaf. And then on the interior, it's the Constant Eye. Get that fellow some Visine. And then it's the Thing from the Pool. And this one is notable because we just talked about eerie pubs in our last episode, and this was an image that I had scanned but didn't get around to showing you, which was in one of those magazines. Myron Fass was famous for reprinting these stories without permission, and, well... I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same, huh? And we're going to finish things up with Tom Sutton's Creepy Things. Now, I'm a nut for Tom Sutton, absolutely. When I first discovered his work, it was a rainy day. I was inside a comic book shop that was just on the verge of closing. I bought a big old stack of Charlton horror comics, and when I got them home, I was delighted to discover this man's work. While I might have seen it in Marvel Comics before, while I never truly appreciated it the way that I was able to then and now in this wonderful volume, there he is, the big man himself, Tom Sutton, a legend in the industry. People love the man. Dynamite work, really, really eye-catching stuff. And what do we have picked out right off the bat? It's some more cover gallery stuff, because sometimes, well, that's where artists really shine, you know, given the opportunity to work with a single image, given the opportunity to sell a book based on one idea. Well, who could possibly say no to that, I ask you? But, oh, there's so very much more. Because Charlton would invite you into the Ghost Manor. Yes, they would. Or do you dare meet the many ghosts of Dr. Graves? These were all books that Sutton worked on. This Ghostly Haunts is especially notable. Echoes of It's Alive. And then we're going to finish things out with this. This was the cover of a comic called All New Creepy Things, and I used to sing that to my girlfriend to the tune of David Bowie's Oh You Pretty Things, and, well, those were fun times. Yes, they were. These are Tom Sutton's creepy things. They're my creepy things, and your creepy things as well. Thanks to Craig Yo, you can pick up all of these books. They're all still available. They're all still in print. So if you like that sort of thing, well, you might like this sort of thing. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of Having a Drink with Mink. I'm your host, Jason Mink. It's been a whirlwind. These weekly episodes have really been something. I hope that you've enjoyed them. If you want to see more weekly content, let us know in the comments section below. In fact, whatever you want to see, let us know in the comments section below. I'm not saying we're desperate, but, well, we do like to please. From all of us to all of you, happy Halloween. And if you're a longtime viewer to this channel, you may want to pay attention come Sunday morning for a little something special. But you didn't hear it from me. Cheers.